The story of the lazy ant. In the heart of the verdant greenleaf forest, there was an industrious ant colony known for its tireless work ethic and unity. Among the bustling workers lived Tiny, a rather peculiar ant with an unusual trait: he was incredibly lazy. While the other ants tirelessly foraged for food, built intricate tunnels, and protected the colony, Tiny could always be found lounging on a sun-warmed rock, daydreaming about a life of ease. Tiny's laziness didn't go unnoticed. The queen ant, wise and nurturing, often observed Tiny with a mix of concern and curiosity. She knew that every ant had a role in the colony and that Tiny's behavior could disrupt their delicate harmony. Despite this, she decided to give Tiny a chance to prove himself. One sunny morning, the queen summoned Tiny to her chamber. The walls of the chamber glistened with tiny dewdrops, reflecting the soft light. Tiny shuffled in, yawning, and gave the queen a lazy salute. "Tiny," the queen began gently, "I've noticed you prefer resting over working. While leisure has its place, our colony thrives on the efforts of every ant. I have a special task for you." Tiny perked up, his curiosity piqued. "A special task? What is it, Your Majesty?" The queen smiled. "I want you to lead a team to gather the sweet nectar from the blooming flowers at the edge of the forest. It's a vital task that requires coordination and effort." Tiny gulped, realizing the gravity of the responsibility. But he also saw it as an opportunity to prove he wasn't just a lazy ant. He reluctantly agreed, hoping the task wouldn't be too arduous. The next day, Tiny assembled his team: Snap, a diligent worker; Blink, an energetic scout; and Dash, a quick and clever strategist. They set off towards the edge of the forest, where the air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers. Tiny tried to maintain a semblance of enthusiasm, but his natural laziness soon resurfaced. "Let's take a break," Tiny suggested after a short walk. "We'll get to the flowers eventually." Snap and Blink exchanged worried glances, but Dash, always the optimist, tried to encourage Tiny. "Come on, Tiny, we need to stay focused. The colony is counting on us." Reluctantly, Tiny trudged on. When they reached the flowers, they were greeted by a field of vibrant colors and a symphony of buzzing bees. The sight was breathtaking, but the task ahead was daunting. They had to collect enough nectar to sustain the colony through the coming weeks. Tiny watched as Snap, Blink, and Dash immediately got to work, skillfully extracting nectar and storing it in their tiny pouches. He sighed and decided to help, albeit half-heartedly. As the hours passed, Tiny's half-hearted efforts yielded only a fraction of what his teammates collected. By the end of the day, they had gathered a respectable amount of nectar, but it was clear to everyone that Tiny's contribution was minimal. Exhausted and disheartened, Tiny sat on a rock, feeling a pang of guilt. As they prepared to head back to the colony, a sudden commotion erupted. A group of predatory beetles, attracted by the scent of nectar, descended upon the team. Panic ensued as the ants tried to defend their hard-earned bounty. Tiny froze, his mind racing. His usual laziness was replaced by a surge of adrenaline. Without thinking, Tiny sprang into action. He grabbed a twig and brandished it like a weapon, fending off the beetles with surprising agility. His teammates, inspired by his bravery, fought back with renewed vigor. Together, they managed to drive the beetles away. Breathless and bruised, the team regrouped. Snap, Blink, and Dash looked at Tiny with newfound respect. "You were amazing, Tiny," Blink said, his eyes shining with gratitude. Tiny smiled sheepishly. "I guess I realized that sometimes you have to put in the effort to protect what's important." When they returned to the colony, the Queen listened intently as the team recounted their adventure. She was especially impressed by Tiny's transformation. "Tiny, you showed great courage today. You've learned a valuable lesson. True strength comes from within, and every ant's contribution matters." From that day on, Tiny was a changed ant. He still enjoyed lounging in the sun, but he understood the importance of hard work and responsibility. The colony thrived, and Tiny's story became a legend. It shows that hard work and responsibility are essential, and everyone has the potential to contribute meaningfully, no matter their past behavior. It also reminds every ant that even the laziest among them could rise to the occasion when it truly mattered.